Hey everyone, I've been a little behind on recording things. I'm sorry. I know before I talked about making this channel into more than what it is. And then I figured I had such good feedback on my last video that maybe I should make this channel more of me discussing issues that have to do with mental illness and my own personal experience with it. But I don't know, I still feel like I need to do some silly things as well because I am a silly individual. My life isn't just about my mental illness, but I also want to help other people. So if that's what this does, then good. All right, so that being said, here is my disclaimer. I probably won't need this forever, but just so you know, my way of dealing with any kind of my personal issues, mental health, etc., is to giggle. I giggle a lot, I make jokes, that's how I deal with things. Please know that that doesn't mean I don't take it seriously. I know a lot of people handle it different ways, but that's my way of doing it. So please forgive me if I chuckle inappropriately. That's just me. So on to today's message. As the title of the video says, I'm going to talk about self-esteem. And the first thing I need to mention, as I said in my video before, I dealt with mental and physical abuse as a child. And it took me until just recently discussing the situation with my therapist to realize that she most likely has some kind of mental illness herself. We've concluded that undiagnosed, we don't know for sure, but we think she might have borderline personality disorder. A lot of signs point to that. If you're not familiar with borderline personality disorder or BPD, it's still really tricky and it's hard to diagnose. From the research that I've done, it's basically something a person inherits at a very early age, and it really cements how they view the world, and their minds never change. They forever think of the world in black and white in a specific way, and that's that. And a lot of times they view themselves very differently. They can tend to be very trapped in their own minds, and it's hard to treat them, and it's hard to diagnose, and it's even harder to treat. Like, it requires medication and constant therapy and just really, really working hard on it. And it's something that the person who has it has to want help, and most of the time they don't actually want the help because they don't think they need the help, etc. So that's my background. I've had low self-esteem basically my whole life. I even had trouble sitting down to record this video because I thought I hadn't put any makeup on today. I feel like I'm kind of raggedy, but then I stopped myself and I said, whatever, you have a message, put it out there already. So I've had a voice in my head telling me I'm fat and ugly since I was little. And I suddenly realized once I was put on medication that my self-esteem was an issue I really needed to work on, that it was harming the relationships I had with people, because somewhere in my mind I thought every nice thing somebody said to me was just them being nice and not being honest. So when I talked to my therapist about it, we had to question, whose voice was it that I was hearing? Was it my own voice, or was it some external thing? And I quickly realized that I wasn't hearing my own voice, I was hearing my mother's voice and the things that she would say to me. And I think a lot of it was that she had such low self-esteem, and I guess maybe like any bully, she would feel better by tearing me down. I don't think it worked, but I think that was her attempt at trying to make herself feel better. Which I have to say, you know, you're most likely watching this. And, you know, when I look in the mirror anymore, I still see your face, and it's not a horrible face. Anyway, I had to learn to shut that voice off. Going through group therapy, they focused on cognitive behavioral therapy. A lot of it is stopping the negative thoughts and redirecting them. And one thing my therapist had taught me was not only do you stop these thoughts, but then you challenge these thoughts. So when the voice in my head says, oh, you can't do that, you're too stupid, I can challenge that voice and say, well, no, I'm not stupid. I've always gotten decent grades. I've been through university. I have a bachelor's degree. I'm obviously not stupid. That shit takes hard work. The one voice that was the hardest to beat and to stop was the voice that said, you're fat, you're ugly. I heard that voice my whole life. And even when I moved out of the house and I wasn't around her anymore, I could still hear that voice. When I would look in the mirror, I'd hate myself. I'd cover myself in baggy clothes. I'd try to hide behind my hair. I had longer hair. I really couldn't see what other people saw. So, I'm 34 now. When I entered my 30s, I finally decided to do something about it, and I started to lose weight. It takes a long time. So if you're struggling with losing weight, just remember it took you a long time to gain the weight. It's going to take you a long time to take it off. And that was a huge struggle for me. I did it the wrong way for a long time, practically starving myself because I decided to use that as a way to punish myself for not losing the weight. And, eventually finding exercise enjoyable and the endorphins felt really, really good. And watching what I eat, that sort of thing. And even then, I lost 100 pounds at one point, and I would still look in the mirror and I would find every flaw I could think of and point them out in my brain. So one thing my therapist had told me to work on was not only ignoring that voice that I was hearing, realizing that that was not my own voice, but looking in the mirror and really learning to form my own opinion of myself. And that starts with looking and really trying to find something that you find positive. And when you see something you find negative, you stop yourself and you go back and focus on the points that you think are positive. And not only does that work with your personality, not only does that work with your appearance, but it also helps with your personality. If you're thinking, I'm worthless, then you stop and you think of all the good things that you've done, whether you've helped out people, or even if you're just the kind of person who smiles at strangers. Something so small like that can actually really impact a person's life. Maybe they're having a bad day and some stranger smiles at them. Like, you are bringing joy into the world, whether you mean to or not. And if you're not the kind of person who goes out, if you're shy and you don't talk to strangers, start talking to strangers. The worst that can happen is that the person's just going to walk away from you. And if that happens, the day goes on. So anyway, self-esteem is something that is really hard to work on. If you weren't blessed with a family who constantly raised you up and made you feel good about yourself, and peers were nice to you, odds are what you have is a shell of a person who has to work even harder than everyone else around you. Once you start seeing the good in yourself, then you're going to start accepting the compliments from strangers. Like I said before, I used to think that people were just saying nice things to me for the sake of saying nice things to me. It took me a long time to finally stop myself and say, what would they gain from that? That stranger isn't going to be nice to me thinking I'm going to give them money. I'm not getting compliments from someone necessarily because they want to get in my pants. They're being nice because they genuinely feel that way. So, I have people that have been close to me for years, and even the people I felt the closest to, I would say, oh no, you're just saying that. So to those people who are watching this, I apologize. You know, I was in a very bad headspace, and I couldn't take what you were saying to heart, because in my head it was just one little voice. Yours was being blocked out, and I did not intend to do that, and I'm sorry. But now I'm able to recognize that voice in my head, and I know that it's just not a good voice. It's not a voice I should be listening to. And the voice in your head that's telling you that you're not worth anything, or that you're ugly, or you're fat, or you're stupid, or any of those negative voices are not voices you should be listening to. Stop that little voice. Say, hey, no, I have this quality, and find one, even just one. If you're looking in the mirror and all you can think to yourself is, well, I kind of like my left nostril, then fucking focus on your left nostril until, you know, you start realizing, okay, maybe this eyeball next to this nostril is not so bad. And the one next to that eyeball, okay, I have nice eyes, you know. Find something about yourself that you like, you will. And if you're searching your entire face for an hour and you still can't find something, keep searching, because it's there. And listen to your peers. Unless you're giving them money or you're doing them special favors on the side, they're not being dishonest with you for the sake of just being nice. Like, they're not gaining anything from that. So, for anyone else who has dealt with a parent with BPD or have had abusive people in your life, there are groups out there of people you can talk to. There's actually a group on Facebook specifically for children of parents with borderline personality disorder. It's been kind of amazing, like listening to their stories. I'm like, holy shit, that's exactly what I went through. This is crazy. And most of them have had to cut their parents off because the negativity just got to be too much. And that's healthy too. If you have someone in your life that is knocking you down, cut them out of your life. Whether they're friends, family, anyone, you know, block them, delete them, don't talk to them, don't answer their phone calls. Don't let them manipulate you. It's perfectly healthy to get rid of things that are bad for you. I mean, think about, again, trying to lose weight. If you cut out soda, you'll lose a few pounds. Soda is bad for you. Sometimes it seems like it's good, but in theory, it's just not good for you. There's no part of it that is good for you. So if you cut that out, something good is going to happen. So if you take a person out of your life who's negative and has a negative impact on you and is feeding you this bullshit that you're a terrible person, cut that person out. That's good to do. Maybe down the road when you're healthy and you find out that they've been getting help and they're healthy, maybe you can repatch things. But odds are, you know, sometimes people don't change. It's a sad fact. Sometimes people are just so stuck in their own heads that they're not going to change. And you can't change them. There's nothing you can do about it. But you can change yourself. You recognize the issue and you change it. You can change yourself. It's not impossible. And I don't just mean your physical appearance. Yes, you can change your physical appearance. I wouldn't recommend things like surgery. You know, learn to appreciate yourself. You really aren't as bad as your voices are telling you that you are. But even if it's just changing a part of your personality, recognize your strengths. Maybe you don't think of yourself as an artistic person, but you could look around your room and think, wow, you know, all these colors really go well together. Maybe you are an artistic person and you can do something with that to bring joy to the world. But just stop the bad thoughts. That's the first step, is saying no. And ask yourself where the hell that thought is coming from. Is that something that you have come up with? If you look at yourself, you genuinely feel that way? Or did that thought come from someone else's influence on you? Even if it was some nasty kid in high school that made a comment like, ha ha ha, your nose is big. And all of a sudden your brain's like, your nose is big. And you constantly focus on your big nose. I'm speaking from experience here. You gotta stop yourself and think, well, you know, I was born with this nose. There's contouring. There's things I can do if I really want to hide it. Or, hey, you know what? How often, if you're looking through my social media, do you see pictures of me in profile? You don't. Because I don't like my nose, whatever. But I have other features that I like that I bring out instead. And I focus on that. And That is, a lot of that opinion comes from classmates teasing me growing up. It's not my own thought. If anything, I look at it and I think, well, it's unique. I don't see anybody else out there with a nose like mine, and that's perfectly fine. That's what makes me me. And that's something you really have to focus on too, stopping the thoughts and figuring out where the hell they come from and then challenge them. Obviously, there's going to be things that are a little harder to challenge. Maybe if someone calls you stupid, and maybe school is hard for you, but that doesn't necessarily make you stupid. Think of things that you've done that have been smart. Maybe you're good at fixing things. Maybe you're good at, maybe the math gene is there. You maybe not use it very often, but you find that you're secretly a math genius. There's got to be proof that you're not stupid. There's got to be things that you have accomplished that, even small, prove that you're not stupid. Where did that come from? And, as I stressed in my last video, no matter what mental problems you're going through, again, I have and still suffer from severe depression and anxiety. I take medication, but there are days when I still want to crawl under my bed and cry. I get out of bed and I contact somebody that I care about and I talk to them and I go about my day. You are not alone. I said that in my last video and I mean it. Even still, you are not alone. There are people out there, even if you don't know anyone personally who struggle with the same mental illness that you do, there is someone out there who will listen to you. Maybe your friends and family don't fully understand it. For people who've never suffered from depression, they don't fully understand what depression is like. They think you're just having a sad day. But what they don't realize is your sad day is for no fucking reason, and it's lasted a lot longer than a day or two. It's more than just being sad. But for someone who's never experienced that, maybe they don't fully understand it, but they're willing to listen. And that's more important than them fully understanding, is just listening and being supportive. So, talk to someone. And if you find out there's someone who does suffer from depression, if you follow me on social media or even here on YouTube, you can leave a comment and I can talk to you. If you need to talk to someone, you can always talk to me. I may not reply right away, but I'm there and I care. I really do about everyone. And that's why I'm making these videos. I may be rambling and I might sound like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but these are my own experiences and I hope hearing them helps you out. You can get through this. It takes time. It takes a lot of work. It really takes a lot of work. Your heart is a muscle. So, you really got to work that. And I mean that literally and figuratively, whatever. But, you really have to work on it. And, we're there for you. All right, I don't really know how to end this video other than to say I do plan on making more videos. If you would like for me to discuss other issues, either related to mental health or talk about anything else, just please let me know down in the comments. And if you know someone who is suffering from depression or anxiety, please not only refer them to this video, but my previous video. I only have 3 up right now, including this one, so it'll be easy to find. And if you know anybody who has dealt with a parent who mentally abused them and put those thoughts in their head, please send them this way and let them know that, they're not alone. You're really not alone. I can't stress that enough. You're not alone. All right, so I will be back at some point to create another video. So please check out this channel again in the next couple of months. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.